So, welcome to the next edition of the Rare Business Podcast. With me today, I have a number of people because this is the first time. And it's the first time we're doing this, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do it again, and if it goes really, really well. But I'd like to welcome Sam Johnson, who is a VP of Customer Service at Jamf, Mark Wilson, who is a Senior Director of Customer Transformation at Paycor, and Chris Lisica, who is a Director of Customer Success at Qumulo. Morning, gentlemen. Well, afternoon for me, but it's morning for you, gentlemen, and welcome to the podcast. What I'd like to do is ask each of you to kind of just to give us a little bit of, tell us a little bit about some of the stuff that you do, the work that you do, and a bit about yourselves, so it fills in some background for the benefit of our listeners and readers. So, Sam, if I could come to you first, if you could just say a few words, that would be great.
Sure, and thanks for having us on the podcast, Adrian. My name is Sam Johnson. I'm responsible for all the post-sales customer experience at Jamf. Jamf, for those that don't know, is a software company that helps organizations be successful with Apple products. And we do that through mostly IT management. So I think the industry leans towards the term mobile device management or MDM. And in some respects, with modern technology, almost all devices today are mobile. But we generally categorize it as just Apple management due to our focus on that platform specifically.
Excellent. Mark, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah, thanks for having us. My name is Mark Wilson. I work for Paycor. We're a human capital management solution, and my responsibilities at work focus around redefining our service experience and our customer journey that we go through, and then the enablement components that help bring that to life.
Perfect. And Chris?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Adrian, for getting us together, and nice to meet everyone virtually. So I'm the Director of Customer Success at Qumulo. We're an enterprise storage software company competing in the enterprise storage space. I'm really excited to be offering, a very high touch, a very customer focused, success and support and professional services model for what is a very legacy enterprise storage market.
Excellent. Now, gentlemen, I know that we were brought together today, we've come together today to talk about the importance of creating a personalized customer experience, because it's a really hot topic right now for most firms, and most firms are trying to wrestle that gorilla to the ground, as it were. But what I find really, really interesting is when we talk about personalized experience, sometimes we can get caught up in ideas of what it is and what it isn't. And what's really interesting about all three of your approaches is you're taking a very different approach to creating that personalized customer experience, I understand. So I tell you what would be interesting is if we could go through each of your different experiences, and let's start with you, Sam, to if you can help us or describe for us what creating a personalized experience means for you and your clients. And then we'll kind of we'll do the same for Mark and Chris, if that's okay.
Yeah. That's a great point, Adrian, because customer experience in general is very personal, I think. And that's really because it relates to the perceptions and feelings and memories that are created when working with a company. Mm-hmm. And especially in high tech, like all of us are, great customer success is really about kind of going through that technology and really humanizing the technology to connect with people kind of on a more enriched level, I suppose. And in order to achieve that, what we really did was concentrate on the hiring component of that, or making sure that we had the best people on our team interacting with our customers every day. And that starts with a really purposeful hiring process that, emphasizes, for lack of a better term, kind of the soft skills in our selection process. So we kind of go through and we look at kind of the general vibe of our interview process for things like authenticity or joyfulness or things like that. But also, we ask very specific questions to get people, a gauge on people for things like passion and empathy. And with passion, for example, we look at the measurement of how excited we can get someone to be about something. It doesn't have to be about our product or our industry even, but what we want to see is like how passionate they are about any topic, and if they can make that, I guess, contagious, for a lack of a better term, but to get other people kind of excited about that as well. With empathy, that's obviously a little bit more tricky to uncover and can cause for some awkward interview questions. But we're trying to get beyond sympathy, I guess, with it, and we really want to find people that can not only identify and positively impact another person's emotions, but get through that to the source of their emotions. And I guess for an example of that is if you force the emotion, or if you act confused to somebody's statements, and see how they react to that and what they do, just to try to get people back in line. I guess all that's just to say is, having a solid hiring process is extremely key for us to make sure that we have a positive human experience with our customers and our technology.
Okay. And Mark, what sort of approach do you guys take?
Yeah, so Paycor was really founded 27 years ago on the principle of personalized service and even dedicated service. And so our founder, Bob Copeland, believed in a one-to-one ratio and having a named rep, and that was a marketable difference for Paycor. And I also think about some of our guiding principles. So one of those principles for us is take care of our clients first. And as we continue to grow and evolve and added more products into our suite, we had to step back and take a look at our service model and how we connect with our customers. And it was really critical for us that through that process, we didn't lose that personalization or move to a traditional call center. So we introduced a couple different things. We piloted a program on a team-based support model that allowed our customers to still interact with a smaller group of associates. And the technology that supported that really allowed for that intimate experience. So it felt like you knew the rep. Oftentimes you were talking to the same couple of reps through your interactions with Paycor. So how do we apply concepts of that one-to-one model or personalization, but in a little bit broader of a team instance? And then the second thing we think about, business is personal in general, especially when you think about the industry around human capital or just people in general. And we have a wealth of knowledge among our customers. And so we've started to introduce different series of customer events where we're connecting knowledge between our customers and how they define best practices and how they evolve their businesses. So a series of road shows around HCM and then also just driving business in general. So a lot of connection back into industry best practices while we're enhancing our general service model, but keeping that theme of personalization through that technology and the structure of that team.
Okay. And Chris, what about yourselves? What does creating a personalized experience mean for Qumulo?
Yeah, great feedback from Sam and Mark. So we take very similar approaches. Sam really focused on hiring processes. One of the things that we do from a hiring perspective to make sure that we hire, our goal is to hire people that quickly become trusted advisors. And when you are looking to hire, trusted advisors, we found that the best way to do that is to hire former customers. People that have walked many miles, not our customers per se, although we did that one time, that worked out really well. People that have walked many miles in our customers' shoes. So our customers, the people we interact with, these people are senior storage architects, senior system administrators that are, administering, large, render farms to make movies that we all love and know, and a lot of our customers in the media and entertainment. So being able to relate to their pain is proved to be really, really valuable. Mm-hmm. So from a hiring perspective, that's bar number one is get someone in that's going to be a trusted advisor. And another thing we really focus on is friction-free communication. This sounds kind of buzzy, but we onboarded Slack a long time ago, and we found that giving every single one of our customers a private Slack channel to talk to the customer success team and our support engineering team and our product team and even our CEO, massively powerful, resulted in almost no calls to a 1-800 number. People don't, it's almost zero tickets. Slack interaction, resulted in very, very happy customers from an experience perspective, because they all use Slack, not all of them, but most of them do. And if they ask a question, and we provide an answer in 5 minutes, then we just provide an answer in 5 minutes, and,
Sure.
and who doesn't want that?
Sure.
And that's been great been massively successful so far.
That's fantastic. I mean, it seems to me that some of the big themes that are coming out of there are it's all about having the right sort of strategy, but how kind of people are key to that, and also the kind of communication element comes into it. But I guess the next thing I want to ask you was this idea that we talk about this broad thing about creating a personalized customer experience, and a lot of people talk about that data is key to that. And I'd be interested to get each of your kind of takes on kind of how important data is in that, because some people lead with data and then some people kind of don't. So, Sam, I'd be interested to take your take on it, because you've gone very, very heavily with people right up front. So how does data play into your picture?
Yeah, you probably know where I'm going to go on this, and that's, I'm a strong believer in data. Data's great to have, but I'm more about making sure that you're asking the right questions first, and that's why you have to have the sound principles up front of making sure that you have you've done your customer journey mapping, you understand the kind of the stages and events that take place and your touch points from customer experience, and I guess mostly when you're trying to collect the data is most important for how you're going to use it. And right. For me, like the most important spot to collect data and utilize data is in that discovery phase. And the discovery phase is typically pretty early on in the customer life cycle, but it's also a great time to make those human connections and get that relationship part moving as well. But during that, it's really also vital that you collect all the data that you need to understand kind of where your customer is at that specific point, where they want to go, which is really the most important aspect of that, and then establish kind of a path that you can work together to get to that point. And then you collect and analyze all that data based on the net result and the factors that go into it, and then you can utilize that a little bit more meaningful.
Excellent. And Mark, what's your position on kind of data and kind of in that whole mix, as it were?
Yeah, I would agree. I think the important thing is oftentimes when we look at data, we focus more on the behaviors and how do we address those behaviors, and are less focused on what the motivators of that data are. So if you think back into the customer experience, it's not the duration of the call or the number of times your transfers, but what prompted that call and how do you get to the root cause. So often taking a different approach to that data and how you might look for that. What's driving the customer to call us? Is it a product navigation issue? Is it an ease of use around something? Is it that they weren't properly trained? So we really took a step back and just said, let's not just look at our analytics around calls and number of calls and related to that, but really what are the drivers for that, which allow us to take a more holistic approach to that personalized service approach. For us, that's really led to going back to our product and how do we really develop that in a way that allows customers to avoid calling us and have a delightful experience in there. So I think being intentional around that data and how you capture it, and looking for more of the motivators behind it versus just the behaviors is what's important for us on data.
Okay. And Chris, kind of, what about yourselves?
Yeah, we have an interesting approach around data gathering. We actually started data gathering from our prospective customers before we even built a product. So before we even built, our software, we asked about 600 customers, previous customers, prospective customers, of what they wanted in a scale-out storage product, and then we tabulate all the results, and then we set out to build our first software platform. Mm-hmm. And today, that continues where before we even build anything, we interview customers, like what are they interested in, and do usability studies, and then after we ship it. We also, collect, this telemetry data that allows us to be proactive in dealing with our fleet. Our fleet is, most people have, several hundred terabytes or several petabytes of our software and hardware installed. So enabling proactivity as far as customer, contact and reach is concerned, and really, exposing that data to the whole company for the greater good. Really results in, I'd say one of the better customer experiences because, our proactivity means we reach out to customers before they even know anything has even gone bump in the night, and it also allows our product team to observe trends in the product that, had we not had that data, we obviously would not be able to act on.
And it's a bit of an open kind of question, gentlemen, and just pitch in on this, if you will, is I know that what I'm also kind of seeing is that there's this separation of kind of data that sits in, dashboards and kind of warehouses and so on and so forth. But also what you're listening to and what you're talking about, and how, as I say, you got this like strategy people and communication element to it. Surely, how are you capturing some of the softer data or the conversational data that's coming from the interactions that your team is having with your customers, and feeding that back into the sort of the improvement and the development kind of process?
If you don't mind, I'll jump in right away and just comment. One thing that we actually did is in our our contact interaction system, our CRM, we implemented just kind of a little tool that was called What's Up, and it just kind of you just click it whenever you're working with an account, and it just kind of identifies these different, the customer might be upset, or you might catch on to a feeling or a desire or an issue, both good or bad, I guess is the thing. And then when they could kind of specify what it is, add a couple notes, and then it kind of ties the entire team of the people working together with that specific customer. But it also in the background kind of adjusts that customer health score to one degree or the other, and helps kind of find a series of events or connect kind of the combination of all the different touch points that we have out there.
I'll build on that. We take a similar approach with the client health indicator, and it pulls in some data that we can measure, like frequency of calls or open cases that we might have with the customer, but it also has the ability to be influenced by a rep and how they're feeling. And so that score takes kind of qualitative and quantitative information together to build that client health. And then our proactive campaigns and touch points are all driven by that client health score. And then in addition to that, we also have a strong focus on quality. And our managers and directors all have monthly goals centered around just listening to calls. And I think that's a really important part of personalized service and creating that interaction with clients is, are we listening to those interactions and the quality of them and scoring them and setting standards? So those two things for us really partner together between the more formal data and the more qualitative that might be out there.
Okay.
Yeah. So we similar approaches here. Custom forms that feed our CRMs. We share. We have a kind of a very shared customer management relationship with like our account management teams, our sales teams that are distributed around the globe, and we feed these tools together, and we look at the results together, and we also rely pretty heavily on we also rely on our NPS survey results as well as a kind of a barometer of where people are at, and make sure that we have a good follow-up campaign, both positive and negative.
Sure.
Should we have any detractors, to make sure that we address any pain points and act accordingly.
Excellent. So gentlemen, we're all talking about personalized kind of customer support and customer experience, and you're all fervent sort of like followers of this type of approach and believers in it. But I guess there's a lot of people selling these type of approaches. So this is where I'd like to kind of sort of make it real, and sort of if you could give me some examples of the sort of results that you've achieved as a result of, if you like, taking a different approach or adding this to it. I know that some of you have done this for a while, but can you give me some feel for metrics, or how the business has improved because of it, or what the business is achieving because of this approach? Sam, let's kind of start with you.
Sure. I think as far as the business results, most of the time we're looking at pretty traditional metrics from customer retention. You got your net retention, customer satisfaction, NPS, kind of down the line. One of the kind of the peripheral metrics that I think that we measure that also indirectly affects the quality of the customer experience and the business for that matter is employee retention. Right. And especially in roles like technical support and things like that sometimes fall within customer experience, or oftentimes do, having a strong employee retention is really important, because then those people are able to kind of grow within their career and continue to serve at a higher and higher level, making the quality of your customer interactions all that more so.
Okay. And how does that feed through to kind of customer retention? I mean, I know that you've got a pretty impressive customer retention rate. But can you tell us what that is?
Yeah. We've been very happy and been sticking with a retention rate north of 95% just on the customer retention, and customers like the loyalty, and they like the familiar faces. They like the familiar people on the phone that they've worked with before. And if you have strong employee retention, then you're able to sustain that kind of that strong connection with customers over a period of time.
Excellent. And Mark, what sort of results are you seeing?
Yeah, so we've been in an incubation program kind of on the first phase of that transformation, and our client retention is up at 98%, which is pretty significant for us compared to the same team. But then in addition, I'll also say we've seen some behaviors of our associates increase as well. So we've seen a 10% reduction in same-day case resolution. We've seen decreased handle time. We've seen decreased overflow calls out of that team. And then we also measure our associate attrition as well. That's an important part of our customer experience, having knowledgeable and experienced associates. And so in that team as well, we've seen about a 5% decrease in associate attrition for there. So positive results coming out, especially in that retention space.
Excellent. And finally, not last but not least, obviously, what about yourselves and the results that you're seeing out of your approach?
Yeah. So interesting discussion around retention. We have a little different model, right? We're a startup. We acquire enterprise customers. And so I'm happy to say we have like 100% retention rate, because we're in acquisition mode, and we are just constantly growing our customer base every quarter, which is great. But the interesting thing about our customer experience and how it helps sales. Over 50% of our sales, the customers say the reason they purchased our software and our hardware is because of the experience.
Right.
Which is a great metric to be able to really augment the sales process. Really help sell the vision of the company, and to be able to show customers the customer experience before they buy. Massively powerful. And then that fuels our NPS score, which in the last quarter was at 88. Which is a massive score.
Wow.
For NPS. And then our customers also, they also written amazing reviews for our company on Gartner Peer Insights.
Right.
We've been working with Gartner lately, and our customers would just write these very, very kind words about their experience, which I'm greatly appreciative of. But the experience fuels all that, and massively successful. I'm very, very humbled by that.
Fantastic. So, I mean, you're all at different stages of this kind of journey about towards a delivery of kind of your personalized kind of customer experience. Is kind of what I'm kind of hearing. Mark, Chris, you're in sort of startup kind of mode, and you're focusing on acquisition. Mark, you're going through this transformation process, so you're coming out of an incubation sort of period. And Sam, it seems a bit like you're possibly a little bit further down the road. I mean, so let's kind of what's the next stage? Because that's quite a nice, I feel like, graduated sort of approach. So what's the next stage for each of you to kind of get to the next level? I tell you what, let's flip it around. Let's start with Chris this time, because Chris, I think you're probably the youngest person on the block in terms of company age. I would estimate.
Yeah, safe to say. Yeah. So my next thing is really scale.
Right.
So from a business systems perspective, from a people perspective, from a measurement perspective, it's all about scale. So we have this amazing experience, which by the way is massively differentiating from our competition, who have been in this business for 20 years, and who literally, it's like organizationally impossible for our competition to offer, a delightful experience such as we do, because they're so big and they're so invested in offshore call centers and that's the legacy support model. So we've got the recipe down. Now we just need to scale it. And so we're investing in business systems and people, and being very intentional in how and who we hire as we scale our business to be a global software company.
Excellent. And Mark, now that you, as you mentioned, you're coming out of this sort of incubation period as part of the transformation process you're going through, what's sort of next for you guys in terms of developing your approach?
Yeah, so our incubation experience really focused on our single product customers. So on the horizon for us is our customers that have multi-products with us. And what we're really thinking about is a three-pronged approach there. The first of those is really related to the product and listening to our customers. We do quarterly releases, and about 60% of what's included in that release is based off of the voice of the customer that we hear back from them. Mm-hmm. So really delighting our customers in that interactive experience through our product is important and will be through our multi-products. The second thing is beginning to think about how we scale the service model and take our learnings and then apply them to that multi-product environment. And for us, that has a heavy emphasis on our associates internally and how do we develop them and grow them to ensure that our specialists can help solve problems and also anticipate what's coming next and really become trusted advisors. So it's a long, or I shouldn't say a long process, but a large process of ramping our knowledge of our associates and ensure that they're ready to handle questions around several different products. And then the third area that I'd say is just keeping in mind that principle of personalized service. It's easy to step away from that, and how do we hold that as our drumbeat or hold that true as we start to define what that next evolution looks like for us. Excellent.
And Sam?
Yeah, some similar themes in here. And first, I just want to touch on Chris with an 88 Net Promoter Score. I think I just squirted coffee out of my nose. That's something to do.
I did too when I saw the results. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
But it's a fairly similar story with us on scale, but maybe just a little bit different. I mean, we have a few product lines already. It's multinational, and we have 12,000 customers across the globe in 6 continents. I think we're still looking for that one in Antarctica. But other than that, scaling comes with a couple of different challenges. And really for us, I mean, with more and more people, not only are we looking to try to figure out how to harness the power that comes with just having that many people, but also kind of keep that very personal connection with our customers. But also, the trying to find the idiosyncrasies that come with the different regions and different markets, especially when you globalize and you go into, like APAC region or even working in, the UK, EMEA. And EMEA is really difficult because, you've got Germany, the Nordics, you got Benelux out there, and finding out how you can best serve those customers isn't always the same playbook that it is in your traditional kind of American market. So that's kind of what's next for us, is just kind of fine tuning that. Otherwise, like technology, service is constantly evolving, and customer experience has to constantly evolve with that. And I think, for the whole group, it sounds like, just trying to stay on the cutting edge of what that means. And even just listening to the stories here about some of the tool sets that these folks have, both with Mark and Chris, is there's a lot of just ideas of things that are happening very rapid, and keeping on top of that is difficult.
So, gentlemen, I mean, because it sounds like you've had like similar sort of experience and facing similar sort of challenges on different parts of the journey, but the journey's kind of, it never ends. It's always continuing. But if I was to say to you, what's the sort of biggest lesson that you've kind of learned that if you were to pass it on to somebody that was listening to this, that was in a similar position to yourselves right now, if you give them the benefit of your hindsight, as it were, what would it be? What would be the big thing that you would say, this is what I learned, and this is what you should pay attention to, and this is what you should do, sort of thing? Mark, let's start with you this time.
Yeah, I think people underestimate the influence that just listening has, listening to customers and listening to associates. And as we went through the evolution and started this process, we really took the approach of listening to our customers. And what we found along the journey is that our associates, our frontline employees, were a valuable asset to us and had great builds for us in what our clients wanted and how to interact with them. And so I think we oftentimes think of really formal feedback loops and look at data really heavily, but also how do you pull the people closest to the work end and let them have a voice in this process and developing a personalized service environment. So as I reflect back, that was a big win for us, and how we carry that forward will be important.
Excellent. And Chris, let's come to you this time.
Yeah, Mark totally stole my thunder. Listening.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's good. We're on the same page on this. Like, listening is so powerful. You know, customers want to be listened to. They want to be heard. And it's totally evident in my industry where our competitors are these big legacy enterprise dinosaurs, and they just can't listen. So coming with this, I'd say in addition to listening, just constantly coming with a modern customer experience approach and constantly refining that, evaluating, and don't just pick up a method and stick with it, but really analyze it. Ask your customers, how do they want to be communicated with? What things do they want? What things are they interested in? And that high touch interaction will be successful for anyone. I'm convinced of that, because there's no customer out there of any product that doesn't want that level of interactivity with the vendor.
Excellent. And Sam.
Yeah, following the know thy customer line a little further, I also just to bring that down a little bit more, make sure that you're understanding the context of the motivations for what your customer is trying to do. And in most business to business solutions, which it sounds like we have here, what we're really trying to empower is the end users of our customers. So most of the time, like if you're selling into a school, for example, you might be helping like IT, but you're also trying to help, the kids be smarter or safer or, build general fundamentals. If you're selling into a business, you're trying to enable that workforce to be smarter or more productive or, differentiate in some other way. And in order to do that, you need to understand how and why the customer or the people using your systems are using those products to help those individuals.
Right.
So, you can't help them until you see through that to the end users. Mm-hmm. For the leaders out there, that I'd give advice to, I'd say market the importance of your customers every day to your company. Make sure that they see the awesome things that are happening, not just from the case studies, but the little interactions that you have, and market the good things that your customers are saying about your employees as well. We have an internal hashtag on our social network, which is, good stuff from customers. Uh-huh. And that just lights up, and people are always following that, and it energizes your entire company, and it helps allow you to have fun doing what you're doing and find that enjoyment with the people that you work with and your customers as well.
I like that. And so, gentlemen, just a final kind of open question to you all before I ask you a couple of kind of questions that I always end these interviews with. I mean, the open question is that when we think about this personalized kind of customer experience and the challenges of creating that and kind of maintaining it, I mean, is there anything that you think that we've kind of missed out, elements that we might have missed out that you think is important to highlight, whether that's challenges or opportunities?
Yeah, I think for us, what I would say is this can feel like an overwhelming task, especially if you're evolving a mature service environment. And so how do you start simple? How do you not get hung up on the fact that you may need large technology investment or that you might need to swing the workforce a different way? And how do you tackle it in small chunks? When we started it felt like a daunting task for us. It felt like we didn't have the funds that we needed, but yet we needed to start moving and prove to the value of this to the organization. And so what I would say is be willing to fail. There's going to be times as you go through a journey and evolving this personalized service approach that things aren't going to go well. And I'm sure we could all probably tell stories of that as well on this call. But really start simple and solution for things in a way that might need just nimble or limited investment, but still allows you to take a step forward.
Mm-hmm. Sam, Chris, anything to add?
Yeah, I think one thing that, go ahead, Sam.
Go ahead. Oh, sorry about that, Chris. I think, one important thing that we didn't cover off on, but obviously I'm pretty passionate about, is just the employee training and making sure that you have the resources in place and you have people dedicated to making sure that your employees are constantly being trained and viewed as a kind of a continuous effort.
Okay.
Yeah, adding on to that, specifically, Sam, was, our onboarding program for new employees. When we started off, I was like the second customer success employee, and things were a little rough. Those are back in the Wild West days of Qumulo. Since then, and I'm very happy that we've developed a really rich onboarding program for for all levels of employees that we hire. And that's been pretty powerful, right? You take a person that goes from hunting and pecking for links around your internal wiki, and you set them on a 30, 60, 90, 180 day program for success to make sure that not only ensure their growth, but their impact to your customers comes a lot quicker when you have a set program like that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, this brings me to my penultimate question that I always ask at the end of these interviews, and it's a bit of a selfish one, and it's my own piece of what I call ongoing market research. Anyway, I wrote a book last year. It came out with Pearson. It's called How to Wow. And what I've been doing every time I do these interviews since the publication of the book is asking everybody I've spoken to for their perspective on what wow service or experience means to them, because I'm always amazed at the variety of people's different perspectives. So, Sam, if I can come to you, what does wow service or experience mean to you?
Yeah, wow, indeed. A wow to me is really like a tangible thing, and I say that because when a wow strikes, both parties that are involved can feel it just happened. So
right.
I view it as a connection between two people that is just beyond expectation. And it kind of creates this meaningful, personal, emotional connection with another person. And that connection transcends your typical customer versus vendor, or someone who needs help and someone whose job it is to help them. And it's really an establishment of the two people kind of perfectly aligned to make something better.
Excellent. Mark, what about yourself?
Yeah, when I think about a wow service, it actually is more about the product for me, and how do we almost eliminate the need for support or interactions, and how do we develop mobile applications and products that are intuitive and drive behaviors and have interactive support built in there that almost eliminates the need for person-to-person interaction. So a bit different than maybe others might think about it.
Sure. And Chris?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, wow means that we enable the customer to be the most successful with our software we possibly can, and that's working, and that friction-free comms and hiring like some of the most senior people to deliver amazing experiences fuels that.
Excellent. And that brings me to, so thank you for those responses, gentlemen. As I said, the variety is huge. It's always a surprise to me. But that brings me to my final question, and I always ask at the end of these interviews. And the question is this. Now, don't all go at once. We'll come to each in turn. But the question is there anything that you would like to shamelessly plug? And we'll start with you, Mark.
Sure. Well, I think what we'd like to really focus on at Paycor goes back to what WOW meant to me and as our product. I believe that we have a phenomenal product that's geared, and we have an exciting fiscal year ahead of us with developments to that product, specifically around our HR product. And so just an exciting time for us. So I'd encourage folks to go out and check out Paycor.
Fantastic. And Chris?
Yeah, obvious shameless plug. I'll do a couple. I'll do a little one at the end of mine. But Qumulo has been delivering an amazing experience to our customers on premises, and now we're launching a cloud file system in the next few weeks here as well. So the best of both worlds from a scale out and NAS perspective, both on premises and in the cloud, which is pretty exciting, as well as a very exciting HPE partnership that just got underway a couple months ago. And then I also, just shout out to, just a quick shout out to Slack for making a great product that has really enabled us to, interact with our customers in what has proven to be a massively differentiating way for our industry. It's been a great tool for us.
Fantastic. And finally, Sam.
All right. First, if you're in the customer service or customer experience space, check out the fantastic book, How to Wow. It truly is a good read.
Yay!
If you're not aware, if you're not aware of us and want to learn more, it's jamf.com. That's Juliet Alpha Michael Foxtrot. If you want to be a part of our vibrant community and join the largest IT Apple community in the world, it's jamfnation.com. And last, if you want to be 3D with us and harness all that power which is Jamf Nation, come to our amazing conference, the Jamf Nation User Conference, and that's in October 24th through the 26th in sunny and wonderful Minneapolis, Minnesota. And you can register online at any of the aforementioned sites. So,
gentlemen, that has been great. And I was fearful there was going to be a train wreck. I'm incredibly pleased that it's kind of it worked out really well. I'm enthused by the journeys that you're on, but also very thankful for your time and also the stories and your insight and your that you shared with us today. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for spending some time with me today to talk about sort of personalized customer experience and your journey towards creating that. That's been amazing.
Thanks for the opportunity to come here and talk with all you guys. This is something that's near and dear to me, and I'm sure everyone else here. Being able to share the message is incredible. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, and it's great to meet all of you, and hopefully we can connect more.